I'm Don Mooers, and welcome to Montgomery Week in Review. Last week, the governor of Arizona vetoed a bill that would have made it legal to discriminate throughout the state of Arizona. Jeffrey Slavin, the mayor of the town of Somerset, is here to comment. A group of elected officials, parents, and children are headed to Annapolis this week to ask for more money for our public schools, many of which desperately need refurbishing to make space for a record influx of new students. Jane DeWinter, who comments for this program on a regular basis, she's here to describe the situation. The Victim Rights Foundation and the Black Students Union of the University of Maryland College Park will co-present a hip-hop conference in April to raise awareness of hunger in our community. Greg Wims, the president and founder of the Victim Rights Foundation, is here to tell us all about it. Serving Together, a program of the Mental Health Association, is planning a veteran and volunteer resource fair come in the spring. Jessica Fuchs, the director of Serving Together, is here to describe what this will be all about and also other things that are happening with her organization. Jeffrey Slavin, welcome back, Your Excellency.
It's always good to be back.
Excellency, one of the most respected leaders
Thank you.
in this community, not just Montgomery County, but I think the entire Mid-Atlantic. So what's going on? Your reach was not as far as Governor Brewer, or was it? Did she veto because of something you told her?
No. But I think that across the country, there's a backlash now with the legalization of same-sex marriage. And so the legislature, which in Arizona is really controlled by probably the Tea Party, but definitely right-wingers, came up with some legislation that was really probably unconstitutional and also was bad really for business. So,
well, tell me a little bit about what it was, because there's some debate as to whether it was really discriminatory largely against the GBLT community.
Well, it seems to me that was the intent, but one of the reasons the governor mentioned as to why she vetoed it was because it was too broad. And basically a business person, a retail person could turn someone away based on anything. You know, their race, their religion, and they could claim a First Amendment right.
It was because of their religious, it was offensive to their religious beliefs?
Yeah.
Is that what the basis
claim
was?
The bill, well, it didn't make any sense, but I think that the intent was a business person could say, I don't want to serve you, and it's on the basis of my religious beliefs.
You know,
so I think that's unconstitutional.
I used to work around the world, and I had this person tell me about the difference between whites and blacks, and that whites were the descendants of someone who won a battle in the Old Testament. Blacks were and so therefore blacks were damned. And I was looking at this guy, and this was in Africa, thinking, well, you must be wasting your time, buddy. But so, I mean, it seems to me, I mean, remember that person who didn't believe whites and blacks were equals, he could have used that.
Right. I mean, it's just.
But it was really against the gay and lesbian.
That was the point, because these kind of bills are popping up all over the country. There's another one that's pending, I think, in Kansas, and attempts have been made in Maine and South Dakota. But it's just, I think it's a backlash that you're seeing all over the country.
You know, when I hear Arizona and Kansas, those are two of the big hotbeds of anti-immigrant hysteria as well. So I'm thinking, you know, is there a connection?
I think it all goes hand in hand.
I did want to ask, from looking at the news reports, I think some of the Fortune 500 firms came out against this.
Oh, yeah.
I know. Who were some of those that opposed the bill?
Well, a lot of big companies, but the Super Bowl, I think the big one was that the NFL said, if this law passes, if you sign the bill, we're pulling the Super Bowl, which I think is isn't it over 100 million, 150 million benefit to the state. So,
and that's kind of ironic for it to be the NFL saying that.
Right. I know.
But you know, I mean, the battle. I mean, when you talk about we've already had. The battles about, who can be served and whether people can be, I mean, you think back to the lunch counters and whatever. I mean, it's already sort of been, and I guess it goes now to the question of whether, sexual orientation is a protected class or not, which.
Well, and of course it still isn't, there's no state protection in Arizona.
Right.
So one of the things the national groups are fighting for is federal protection, of course. And it's kind of ironic that same-sex marriage is legal and LGBT in the military, but you can still get fired. There's no federal protection in the workplace.
Well, I thought that the president had done everything he could in terms of
Well, executive order,
executive order,
and
right.
with the federal government, but
Right.
not private
or state or county.
employers.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
there's still no ERA either.
Same with the ERA.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can do a whole show on all of these. What do you see coming down the pike? Do you see more attempts by the Tea Party types in other states?
I think so. I mean, it's just the same attempts, the futile attempts to get rid of Obamacare. It's the same. It's just all a political posturing. But I do think what's going to happen is I think you're going to see the Supreme Court in the future legalize same-sex marriage all over the country. So I think that's the next.
Be difficult. I mean, the way that it's been moving ahead to that jurisprudence to not be on the side of equal protection.
Right.
And anti-discrimination.
You would think so. You'd think so.
And probably people see that that's the future, and they're just frantically trying to
yes,
stop it.
They're really trying to fight history.
All right, Mayor, let's turn it a little bit here. What's going on in your either municipalities world in the greater state of Maryland or within the most important municipality in
The town of Somerset.
Absolutely, positively.
We're actually.
Tree City.
Yeah, we are a Tree City, and we have an election coming up this year.
Okay.
This next month, and right now there's we're working primarily on some new development, new shopping center in the neighborhood that we want to make sure it's not a regional center, it's more of a community center. That's probably going to be one of our biggest focuses right now.
Okay.
We're working with all the groups in the area.
All right. You're loving what you do.
Oh yeah.
No looking back on
Running
on
for my
elected-
fourth term.
Okay.
Yeah. No looking back. Right.
We can't endorse, but you know how I feel, Jeffrey
Oh,
Slavin.
thank you.
We wish you the best.
I appreciate it.
All right.
I'm unopposed, anyways.
Okay. Well, I'm even more for
Then it
you.
would be
then.
even sadder if you lost.
Yeah, that's sad.
Well, thanks. Jane
Thank you.
DeWinter, welcome back.
Thank you.
Well, we go from the municipality to the county.
Right.
And to the state. Now, I understand, and I've been getting emails, a lot of emails, about this march to Annapolis to explain to our elected officials from elsewhere in the state something that should be obvious. Montgomery County, we've got 2,000 new students a year coming in. We're bursting at the seams.
Right.
We need money to build schools.
Well, and actually, this is somewhat of an annual event, that there is an Annapolis night where PTAs and school people, I mean, there will be parents coming from around the state, and most delegations host some kind of reception, and it's just, people go and visit, and it's all about school construction, which is the capital budget. So in Montgomery County, there's going to be school buses that are leaving from 6 different sites this evening or probably late afternoon to drive to Annapolis, and people are going to go meet with the Montgomery County delegation. And there's a big push this year between Montgomery County, Prince George's County, and Baltimore County to try to get extra construction money for those 3 counties. Pretty much predicated on the fact that Baltimore City had been successful.
They got everything last year, Baltimore City did.
Yes.
And their numbers are going down. Our numbers are going up. It seems like life is going backwards in the state of Maryland. Is that
Right. Well, it is, but it was interesting. There was an editorial in the Baltimore Sun right at the very beginning of the session, and of course, it was decrying this effort by the 3 counties to get more money, and it was pointing out that they still have they've been leaving tax money on the table, and and it was pointing out that the property tax rate in Baltimore City is twice the property tax rate in Montgomery County, so that if we want more school construction, we should just double our property tax rate. And of course, it begs the question of the fact that all of our income taxes are going to Baltimore City to pay for everything else for them.
Why don't I not just put a bag of money and just take it up and drop it like by the harbor? I mean, shouldn't we all do that?
I mean,
Wouldn't
you
that be more
probably
efficient?
are.
That's what we're doing in
right,
reality.
Yeah.
So
And but to be fair, we do that even in our county. We put more resources where people have a greater need. So I don't want to say that
we're good with
the whole
that.
thing. Yeah, I mean,
So-
we're good with that, but to a limit.
All right, so what happens? It's late in the session, very late in the session
Yeah.
for something like this,
Yeah.
this kind of rally.
Well, yeah, this is just kind of typically when it usually happens. Sometimes it's earlier in February.
Right.
Probably got snowed out, weather. We haven't had the greatest weather. I mean, all the whole conventional wisdom is that there's no chance at all that there's going to be additional money for Montgomery County.
Well, question I have, if that happens, then what will we do? Where will our kids sit? What will happen to our children?
Well, they'll be still in portables. And this year, even to in the capital budget proposal that still has to go through the council, et cetera. It's actually some of the what were previously referred to as modernizations, had been delayed in order to put more money into additions and things.
What about like safety concerns for some schools that have different issues going on, that it's a safety issue? Is that a responsibility of Montgomery County, or is that part of this funding as well?
Well, it's state funding. I mean, there are basically certain types of projects that qualify. I mean, there's state code and things, different kinds of projects qualify for reimbursement at different rates. And so actually Montgomery County's entire ask of state construction money for this year, for the upcoming year, is $160 million. And that's how many projects we have right now that would be qualified and that includes projects that we have already funded that they're eligible for reimbursement, so that sometimes people see their school on a list of what the county asked for state funding for, and they're like, well, wait a minute, but we just got a new roof. Well, that's because they're applying for the funding to pay back Montgomery County for what they put out that the state should be paying for.
Down county, up county, where's the big growth in the?
Well, it's really all over. I mean, there's a lot of growth in Bethesda, of course.
Our schools
I mean,
are
part of it is, the expansion of Bethesda Naval. A part of it was, when the economy went and a lot of people came out of private schools. And it's also just the birth rate. I mean, it's Up County, it's Silver Spring. I mean, there really is need all over. And of course, Clarksburg is, there's continuing construction there. I mean, up in Clarksburg, it's the biggest elementary school in the county. Up in that area, it has like 1,300 students in an elementary school that was built for 700. So,
and in the early years had trouble getting to 200 or 300 because nobody was living there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And
well, our area has an intergenerational turnover right now. So.
Right. And that's where we are too. I mean, my kids were in the Walter Johnson cluster. Of course, that's the whole White Flint sector. But all of the elementary schools and all of the schools in our cluster are bursting at the seams.
Infill.
And it's not, but it's not even the infill. It's turnover in terms of neighborhoods where everybody grew up.
Yeah.
Well, having babies, growing up, that's a great way to end this segment. We'll be right back after these messages. And we're back. Gregory Wims, Victims' Rights Foundation. It's been, 12 years now? 14, 13? 15?
Actually, 18 this year. 18 years.
Gosh. Wow.
Yep.
Well, now that you're 18 years old, it's time to move into the hip-hop world.
Well,
You're old enough.
we're old enough now. So.
Exactly. Tell us about this hip-hop.
Well, what we're doing in our 18th year, we decided that we needed to work more at the college level to try to get these young people who will have their degrees to give back to the community. So an opportunity came to us from the University of Maryland, College Park, to co-sponsor with other sponsors the Hip Hop Conference, which would be in April. The idea is on the first day, industry leaders would come in from the music industry, and I believe someone from Universal Records would be there, and there'd be some others. The second day, highlight the talent at the University of Maryland, fashion show, maybe some like a This Is Your Voice type of thing. The third day it would simply be a get-together for all the groups on the university campus to come together to celebrate with the Black Student Union. But then on the fourth and final day, they would have an artist, a well-known artist, which they're still working on, to come and perform. But in between all of this, and this is where we come in with our volunteers, there's an idea suggested of making awareness for the homeless and those who are hungry in our community, whether they're children who don't eat on the weekend, whether they're homeless on the street. So the idea is to have a town hall meeting somewhere in between that to talk about the issue of hunger in our community and get these young people to get involved and volunteer, not only with the Victims' Rights Foundation, but other groups in the community.
Why are we even talking about hunger? How can we talk about hunger in an area of great splendor?
You know, we were talking about this before this show, and then I have two friends who feed the hungry, one Judith Clark and the other Jeremy Lichtenstein. And the question comes up every day because they're actually feeding kids who are hungry on the weekends. There's no answer. I mean, we have all this abundance. There are business people who are very successful who maybe don't give back. So we don't know, but one thing we do know is we need more people to be advocates for the hungry. And we're thinking at the Victims' Rights Foundation, if we can get to universities. Now we're starting at the University of Maryland, but we want to go to Georgetown and others in our region to get them to do something to help those who need food, very frankly.
Well, you know, even Montgomery College has a food pantry for their students because there's students at Montgomery College who, you know, they're probably working and going to school, and so, you know, they collect donations of food. Yeah.
It's the same thing to people, the same people that don't understand why our county needs funding because we're supposed to be so wealthy, doesn't realize how many poor people we have and how many are in the school system and how many are eligible for free and reduced meals. I mean, it's just...
Well, and it's also just in sheer numbers because we're so, you know, one of the largest counties, you know, school system in the entire area. I mean, even though there's other, like Baltimore City has a much higher rate of poverty among kids, we have overall more poor kids than over there. And
wow. Well, one of the things I wanted to say is talking to the leadership of the Black Student Union, they're actually kids at the University of Maryland College Park who actually go hungry. There's some that eat just once a day. They don't have enough money for the meal. I guess the meal ticket or whatever you call it there. So hunger is a problem.
Now I can understand that at college. I mean, you're scraping things together. You're on. I mean, there's some. I mean, you don't want to have just one meal, but you know, the ramen noodles and whatever, macaroni and cheese and going through. But for families, I mean, that's really what you're focusing on, isn't it?
It is. And the reason we do it around hip hop because basically anyone under 25, they are listening to hip hop music, and so if we can get them to come around the theme. Then get them involved. And the idea is hopefully one of the big names that may come to perform will actually join in with those students at the University of Maryland and then take it nationwide to other universities to talk about hip hop, but also talk about feeding the hungry. So we'll see how it goes.
Who would be your ideal artist?
Well, if we had an ideal at this point in time, there's a gentleman named Kendrick Lamar. He was at the Grammys and performed with Magic Dragons, I believe is what.
It's great.
He would be the one, and quite frankly, for those who are listening, they're still accepting sponsors. If we get enough sponsors, someone like that could come. So you can just look at the Victims' Rights Foundation website, call me, and I can put them in touch with the Black Student Union at Maryland.
What can local organizations do, like the Mental Health Association or Serving Together? Our focus isn't necessarily around feeding the hungry, but certainly it's something that we can connect with.
I'm glad you said that because what we can do, especially at the university level, simply put the two of you together. We have a meeting with the president of the Black Student Union, meet with you, and I think there would be a good partnership there.
That'd be great.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Well, Greg, good luck. It sounds like it's been an exciting event.
Thank you.
All right. Jessica, welcome back.
Hello.
Serving Together.
Indeed.
We've got Volunteer and Veterans Resource Fair coming up.
Yes, so excited.
Yeah, what a great thing. I know I put you on the spot a number of times because we are a community of volunteers. And, and it's something that, you know, there's Walter Reed right in our community, and yet those barriers keep so many people out. Here's a chance where people can actually find ways to volunteer together.
Yeah, this is great. So with Serving Together, I get calls from the community all the time. People want to give back. They want to serve wounded warriors, veterans, those who are still in the military, but often don't know how they can best use their skills to do it. So Serving Together co-chairs the Montgomery County Veterans Collaborative, which is really a great informal group of service providers, community members. Any of you guys could be a part of it who are looking and interested in learning about veterans issues or programs. So we've been around for about 6 years now, and this will be our second resource fair. We're trying to make it family friendly and have different activities available. So we're having it at Glen Echo. They're co-sponsoring the event with us. People love it. It's an amazing, beautiful, historic place in Montgomery County. So we're hoping people want to come out and experience that anyway. So we're having different groups and businesses are sponsoring the event so that we can have carousel rides for veterans and families to bring their kids. We're having other organizations sponsoring for the puppet company. They're showing the Pinocchio twice that day, so we're going to have tickets available for families who can come out, experience the fair, learn about different resources, and we're going to have organizations, nonprofits, who serve military and veterans because they're Montgomery County residents. But we're also going to have the volunteer piece, which is new this year. We're going to have organizations like Hero Dogs, the American Red Cross, who serve military and veterans in their work specifically, that can educate the interested community members about how they can be of assistance.
When's this going to be?
This is going to be Saturday, May 10th from
Okay.
10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Glen Echo.
Good, right around Mother's Day.
It is Mother's Day weekend. It's May is also military appreciation, and I think that weekend is also military spouse appreciation. So my husband should bring me flowers or something like
It's
that.
a 3-for. So
I'm owed of my flowers.
we unanimously support that.
Thank you.
There's a website where people can go to learn more, right?
Yes, servingtogetherproject.org. We have, right now it's a great place for resources, but we have a local calendar of events. So right on the homepage, you'll be able to find information. We currently have the Save the Date up there now. We'll be adding more information as we get it. So we're taking registration. So if nonprofits, civic organizations who provide services to veterans for free at no cost, if they're interested, they can go on the website and contact us and to be involved in it. It'd be awesome.
I just wanted to ask, because we were talking about hunger earlier, do you find any of the veterans in the area? I know there's a lot of homeless veterans, but do you find that veterans in need of food or so forth, that those who like living at home?
Yeah, we get, so our veteran and family peer navigator who works one-on-one with veterans in our area who need the assistance, financial assistance, homelessness and housing issues and employment issues are the main reasons. And so part of that is being able, do you have food? Our navigator will ask, one of the main questions is, what are you eating for dinner tonight? Just trying to figure out what do we need and kind of trying to triage the different issues. And that's what I was wondering, hunger isn't our main focus, but it's certainly a part of the work that we're doing through our navigator system. Absolutely.
And I think that it's kind of a growing awareness in the county that, especially with the relocation, whatever, that there's more and more. And a lot of, the wounded military people who are coming to Bethesda Naval, they're going to be there for quite a while so that their families are coming. I know that in the, going back to my topic, school construction, there was a recommendation to change the, the schools that kids who are living on the base would go to, just so that they can stay in one place, because they've already been dislocated, having to move from somewhere else to this area to be near their parent.
And that was so much of why, Serving Together started in 2011, but the Mental Health Association has been doing work specifically to military and veterans since 2008. And it was, the BRAC, the transition and the closing was happening around that time. And the idea is that Montgomery County has so much to give, but sometimes it's hard to access the services if you don't know what questions to ask or what to go, or we have so many nonprofits that can provide services, but if you don't know them or what they're doing, you miss out on a lot of good resources. And nonprofits the same way. Do they know that they're serving veterans? They need to ask, because there are potentially resources that those case managers could be identifying.
Let me ask you this. We're about a minute left. At this point, the president of Afghanistan doesn't want to sign a security agreement with us. We're looking to move out of Afghanistan. End of the year, no more troops in Afghanistan. The issues that you're dealing with, don't they all go away then?
Oh, absolutely. Our whole
Absolutely not,
it never
right?
ends. Absolutely, it never ends. Just because the conflicts end, we're out of Iraq, we're out of Afghanistan, whatever that means, or however we define it. We have troops all over the world. We have families here in Montgomery County who need assistance. They need help. They've earned these services.
No, and the troops who've come back from Iran and Afghanistan have many years of transition for some damage for the rest of their
lives. It doesn't matter if you served in Korea, World War II, or you came home from Iraq yesterday. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Well, you know what does matter is that we're here together, and we had a great show. I want to thank all of you for joining me today. I want to thank all of you in the viewing audience for joining us for this week's edition of Montgomery Week in Review. We look forward to seeing you next week at this very same time.